Not afraid to take a stand. Be humble. Sit down. Bow wow wow yippee-o yippee-yay. Bow wow yippee-o yippee-yay. Ain't that the way it's supposed to be? Here with me. Hello, everybody. What do you say, gang? Thanks for watching Super Bowl edition of the American Doofus Show, a special edition, sports edition. Of course, we have SPEWS. That's my word, SPEWS, a combination of sports and news. When a sports story crosses over and becomes newsworthy. We had one last Sunday with the Pro Bowl, and Alvin Kamara arrested after being allowed to play for basically he broke some guy's orbital lobe, messed a guy up pretty bad. And that was on a Friday, late Friday night, early Saturday morning. And then police came and wanted to talk to Kamara. The NFL said he was already on the field. So the police waited and he played the game and then was taken into custody immediately upon coming out of the locker room, held on a bond. He's been released and the court date is March 8th. So now in fairly big news in sports, not SPEWS, not a sports story crossing over into news, at least not just yet, but fairly big sports story is Kyler Murray, quarterback for the moment anyway, of the Arizona Cardinals. And Murray caused quite a stir by basically expunging all references to the Arizona Cardinals from his social media accounts. We'll get to picks, we'll get to the fantasy, we'll get to the Super Bowl in just a minute, but these things I wanted to touch on. According to a number of sources, as you can see, there's the speculation is that Murray basically erased all references to the Arizona Cardinals from his social media because he has knowledge that he's going to be traded. And speculation is already underway as to where he's going to be traded, to whom, and for how much. So interesting times going on around the Super Bowl, but of course the Super Bowl is the main focus. Now, another SPEWS story, a sports story crossed into news was the Washington Commanders. That's the new name of the Washington football team. Washington Commanders wanted to investigate themselves on charges of sexual misconduct. And the NFL said, no, we're going to be conducting an investigation. And the NFL going as far as to say that the Washington football team had indeed held up evidence that would have been relevant for the congressional investigation that is ongoing. So it's an odd situation. The Denver Broncos are currently up for sale with all this coming out about coming from the lawsuit, the justifiable lawsuit by the former Miami Dolphins coach who was alleged racism in the hiring practices of the NFL, alleged that games had been fixed, that he had been paid bonus money or offered bonus money for intentionally losing games. So the NFL was rigged, and that takes us to our next topic. A lot of people think the NFL is rigged. Of course, a lot of Donald Trump supporters don't follow the NFL anymore because of Colin Kaepernick kneeling and Trump making such a big deal out of that, even though it was basically a political a display of a call to recognize social injustice. And being done during the national anthem drew the attention that was necessary. Did I agree with, would I have done it? No, but I fully support their right to have done it. And it's led us to where we are now, where a lot of people think the NFL's fixed, that the NFL's rigged. A quick YouTube shows most rigged moments in NFL history. Is the NFL rigged? The NFL is rigged. That's Des Bryant questioning the NFL's darkest conspiracy. John Gruden's only Super Bowl was rigged. NFL exposed as rigged after fourth quarter score of Rams and Bears get posted on screen during first half. Okay. I'm stopping on this one because it's hard to not question how that happened. Those of you that watch the American Dufus show on a regular basis know that I was in politics, and a similar thing happened once where it was supposed to be a test, but a local television station's website had the results of the primary that I was in, 4-person primary, had me winning the primary, and almost by the exact margins that I ended up winning by. Very coincidental. So the NFL's got a lot to deal with. They've got the possibility of the Miami Dolphins actually, their owner instructing the coach to lose intentionally. We get the allegations of sexual misconduct, and the Denver Broncos are already up for sale. Could possibly see the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins up for sale. So the NFL's in some turmoil as we head towards Super Bowl Sunday. And I want to show you this one quick video. Do I think the NFL is rigged? No, I do not. But watch this video. That was just a good defensive play. That in no way, shape, or form shows that anything was rigged or
didn't even go for the ball. At least go for the ball. Come on, dude. Why would you not go for the ball right there? Seriously. Anybody?
Because as a quarterback, you have to have your hands. And when you dive in that situation, you are potentially putting yourself at risk. The thought is that there's always a running back or another player on your team near enough to the ball. You see what he did? He kept the defender from getting the ball, and didn't jeopardize his hands. As a quarterback, you're taught not to dive in. You're taught not to do those things. So this guy sees this. He's not a player. Hasn't ever been a player. He sees this and he thinks this means it's rigged. Is there a possibility it's rigged? Of course, there's a possibility. Can I definitively say the NFL is not rigged? No, I cannot. It would be very easy for a punter or some non-star to affect the outcome of a game. Okay, and depending on salaries, they could be influenced by enough money to possibly impact the outcome of a game. That's a possibility. Do I think it's happening? No. And I sure hope it's not. Now, all that being said, that takes us to Super Bowl Sunday. And Bengals meet for brief practice picture day. Bengals coach Zach Taylor says his team is ready to go. So you wouldn't expect anything else, but we come down and the Rams coach Sean McVay says we're very confident. So they're ready to go. They're very confident. How did they get here? How did the Bengals and how did the Rams get to the Super Bowl? At the start of the year, absolutely no one said it's going to be the Rams and the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Now, some people did say the Rams because the Rams had been there 2 years ago. The Bengals beat the Las Vegas Raiders, and they won by their defense getting a turnover at the very end of the game, an interception to seal the victory. They beat the Tennessee Titans on a last second field goal. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime. 3 really good teams, 3 really close games. The Rams, they beat the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, we talked about him earlier. They made him look horrible. After that game, I questioned whether he should go play baseball or not, because he just did not look like he fit on an NFL field. And it has nothing to do with his size. It looked like he was constantly terrified. But I think that's because of the Rams defense. We'll get to that in a second. The Rams beat the Cardinals. They beat Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady, of course, has said he's going to retire. Then he also said, never say never. So that all started with Brett Favre. Pardon me. That all started with Brett Favre a number of years ago. And if you retire, you should retire. I understand second guessing and wanting to continue to play and everything, but make sure. Don't announce it if you're not sure. But circumstances do change, and never say never. So the Rams beat the Cardinals. They beat Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they beat the 49ers, who had beat them 6 times in a row. And they didn't dominate any of those games other than that Carolina game or other than that Cardinal game. And it makes you wonder, is that Rams defense that showed up against the Cardinals going to show up against the Bengals? Because if they do, Cincinnati will be hard pressed to win this game. One more thing I want to talk about before I get to the picks and the fantasy is the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, Mr. Jim Irsay. I want to give him some props that give him a little exposure that you may not know that he's been doing this, but he gave away a bunch of Super Bowl tickets. And when I say a bunch, I'm talking about probably 30 to people to Cincinnati Bengals fans that would not have otherwise been able to go, to Rams fans from Indianapolis who wouldn't have been able to go, to kids at Riley Children's Hospital and Cincinnati Children's Hospital that obviously wouldn't have been able to go. And not only did he give them tickets, he gave them $10,000 each to spend on whatever they wanted while they were out there. He paid for their rooms. He paid for their flight. He gave them the Super Bowl tickets and then gave them 10 grand on top of it. Now, of course, he can afford to do that, but not everybody that can afford to do something like that actually does it. So a shout out to owner of the Colts, Mr. Jim Irsay. He's not going to see this, of course, but nonetheless, the props are deserved and warranted, and he needs to be recognized. So all that being said, I honestly think I'm conflicted. I know I'm conflicted. I think and I feel, okay? With my heart, I want the Bengals to win the game. I want the underdogs to win. I'm convinced Joe Burrow, they keep saying Joe Burrow's the next Tom Brady. No, Joe Burrow's the next Joe Montana. If you don't know who Joe Montana is, look it up. Joe Burrow's the next Joe Montana. I can easily see them winning this game. I want to see them win this game. That's what my heart says. My heart says I want to see the Bengals win. I think, therefore, my brain says the Rams have to win this game because of their defense, because of their offense. Their offense is good enough to beat Cincinnati's defense, and their defense is good enough to contain Cincinnati's offense on paper. The advantage to me comes, and the deciding factor to me picking the Rams comes from the fact that they're basically playing at home. They're going through the same routine they normally go through on any given Sunday, the proverbial any given Sunday. Whereas the Bengals have been staying in a hotel for a week. They're in an environment that is unlike any other. And it's not going to be too big for them. This is going to be, I don't think this is a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think this is going to be like my beloved 85 Bears pounding the New England Patriots. It's going to be a close game, and it may come down to a field goal. Don't be surprised if it comes down to a field goal or a missed field goal. I'm taking the Rams 26, the Bengals 21. 26-21. Rams beat the Bengals. That's what my heart says. I'm sorry, that's what my head says. My heart says the Bengals win 31-28 on a Evan McPherson field goal from 68 yards, or I think that would be the new record. I think it's 66 right now. So, something like that. But I probably will not bet the game. Somebody bet $5 million on it. Bet $5 million on the Bengals to win. Now, the same person 20 years ago made and that's the largest legal bet to date. The same guy 20 years ago made a $4.9 million bet. He bet on the Rams beating the Patriots, and the Patriots stopped Kurt Warner and the greatest show on turf. And so this time the guys bet $5 million on the Bengals. A very good friend of mine said that just shows that the guys got more money than sense. A lot of things could be done for the good of humanity, the good of your community with $5 million. I understand competing. That's the way, and I've said this before on these sports specials, that's the way I look at what, I play for small amounts on here, $1, $5, occasionally a $20. And I just look at it as a way of competing. But $5 million, that's, I don't know. I certainly wouldn't risk that on a game like this, because either team can easily win. This isn't this is a star-studded and stud-studded group of players that are going to be taking the field for the 56th Super Bowl. It's not, one side's not going to blow the other one out. I just don't believe that. And the odds makers are in agreement with me. I'll flip over to the sports book in just a second. Let's do some fantasy here real quick, and it's going to be real quick. Since we're down to the final game and there's only two teams, no classic games this week. It is the captain's mode, where your top choice here with the crown costs you 1.5 times the the amount that their regular base salary would be, but you get 1.5 points. Now, what I've done in the past, I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to give you a couple of players that I think you can build off of. All right. And then you put your own lineups together. Normally, there are a handful of potential building blocks. There, in this situation, there is one must-have player, and that is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp just named most valuable offensive player or offensive player of the year. He led the league in receptions. He led the league in yardage. He led the league in touchdowns. And as you can tell by the fantasy points per game average, he's the dominant player in this game, fantasy point wise. The question then becomes, do you play Kupp as your captain, costing you $17,400, but getting 1.5 points for every point he scores? Or do you put somebody else in the captain spot and spend $11,600 to put Cooper Kupp in your lineup? Cooper Kupp needs to be in your lineup, barring injury. You know, we never know what's going to happen. He could, he could twist an ankle. He could pop a knee. He could fall down the stairs on the way to the field, or fall up the stairs, or whatever. We saw part of the bleachers collapse and almost hit one of the Eagles players. That was after the game, but it's just, you never know what's going to happen. So barring all those unforeseen circumstances, you got to have Cooper Kupp in your lineup if you want to have a chance of being in the money, unless he gets injured, because Cincinnati cannot stop him. And the reason I say Cincinnati cannot stop him is because nobody else has stopped him. He may not get a touchdown, but he's going to have double-digit targets, double-digit catches, and probably triple-digit yardage. He'll probably go for 100 yards. So you've got to have him in your lineup. How you structure the rest of your lineup will probably come down to who you pick to win the game. The way that they've got the salaries set up for this particular scenario. You're probably going to end up with either a top-heavy Rams team around Cooper Kupp. You got to put somebody up here at the top if you have Kupp down here, and if you're going to build a Rams-heavy team, you either want Matthew Stafford or Odell Beckham as your captain. I'm going to put Odell up there. I'm going to put Matthew Stafford down here and pair the three. I'm going to stack the three who I believe to be the three Rams who will score the most points for that team. So then I've got my three down here. And again, Joe Burrow, you got Chase, you got Joe Mixon, you got Higgs, Tyler Boyd, Van Jefferson, Sony Michel. I'm not going to build the rest of the lineup for you. I do have a similar lineup. I'm playing 6 different lineups since it's the last game of the year, and Cooper Kupp's in every single one of them. So I'm not giving you information that I wouldn't or am not using and doing on my own. All right, we're gonna hop over and check out the latest odds. It is as of this recording, it is 7:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the odds as of right now have not changed since the last time I looked. It is the Bengals are getting 4 points. The Rams are are giving for. If you have watched this all this time, you know what that means. I don't have to explain that. Over and unders at 48, and the money lines at 190 and 160, negative 190 and plus 160. Again, I'm not sure if I'm going to play play the game itself. I'm not sure if I'm going to place a bet on who wins, simply because I don't have a confident feeling. I know who I want to win, and I know who I think are win, and it's in conflict. So I'm not sure if I'm going to bet as far as who wins. However, novelty props. I'm just going to touch on this real quick. And I've got some questions about DraftKings, because normally there is, you can bet on many different things. At the moment, you can't bet on what color Gatorade. There's no bet on that. The length of the national anthem, 2 favorite bets. You can bet the coin toss, any kick to hit the uprights, coin toss outcome, whether it's tails or heads, coin toss winner, the jersey number, the first touchdown scorer. Will the Bengals win? Will the Rams win? Coin toss and game. And will there be an octopus? An octopus is scoring 8 points. That is a player scoring a touchdown, and then that same player scoring the 2-point conversion on the same play to give 8 points. That's what it means when it says, will there be an octopus, for those that may not know that. This jersey number, first touchdown scorer, this might be a good play under 23.5, just because when you look at the potential of who could possibly score, if it's one of the wide receivers, if it's Cup, if it's Jamar Chase, they're both under 23.5. Over 23.5, they get you plus 110. Now this is going to be if it's a running back, if it's a tight end. So depending on what you feel, or if you meditate, what you envision, or if you speak into existence, or however you determine what you're going to bet, it's just something I wanted to point out. And I will be checking tomorrow. I imagine there will be a lot more novelty prop bets on DraftKings. I know there are on other sites, and I'll be checking on those tomorrow. So I'm going to play some novelty props, and in lieu of picking the game, DraftKings does have this. It's called Superbowl squares, and normally the squares, you think like the Rocket Mortgage, and no, they're not a sponsor. They just do a big squares game where you got 10 across, 10 down, and you got 100 different picks. This one, you pick the numbers and decide if the odds are something that you want to take part in. So I'm going to be doing a couple of those squares on it as well. So I think that is that's all we got for tonight. And actually, this will be, well, I probably will keep doing sports episodes, but only football related and only NFL related. So with the combine being in Indianapolis, I'm going to try to see if I can get media credentials to the combine. And if I can, or even if I don't, I'll have an episode about the combine. Around draft time, there'll be an episode, and they'll just be here and there. So, but it is American Doofus special edition sports episode. And thank you for watching all this time, and for watching the previous episodes. And of course, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, hit the share, hit the notification, so you'll know when we're on. Normally, we're talking news, we're talking politics, we're talking social justice, racial equality, and occasionally we do a weather, but and once in a while sports. So please consider subscribing and sharing and helping us grow the channel. Thanks for watching. I love y'all. Have an excellent Super Bowl weekend. Go Bengals, but if I had to bet, it'd be on the Rams. I love y'all. Thanks for watching. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. Try to be a positive influence. Just even if it's just smiling and saying hello to people. It makes a difference. And if enough of us do it, we can change the world. I love y'all. Have a great Super Bowl Sunday.